that's where we'll begin moving today. We'll have a nice stretch. We'll start with a little meditation. Just finding a moment here to arrive. Taking time to move through maybe the neck and the wrists and the ankles here. Just kind of finding some movement before you settle. Softening and relaxing here, just going inward. Noticing the body, how you feel as you arrive on your mat today for your practice. Checking in with all of the muscle and bone, tissue, joints, organs in the body, scanning through with your mind's eye, and starting with the crown and moving down to the feet. Relax even the scalp. Think about just allowing that softness to pass all the way down through the facial muscles, the jaw, neck and shoulders, and so on. All the way down to the soles of the feet. Check in and see if anything's talking to you today. Letting you know that it might need a little bit of extra compassion. Or it feels pretty good on the other hand. Noticing with acceptance whatever it is we find as we scan through the body. Tune into the breath now. Just begin to notice your breathing. Whatever it is that draws your attention about your breath. Maybe it's the feeling of the breath moving in and out, the torso, the low belly, the rib cage, the upper chest. Maybe it's the sound of the breathing or the temperature of the air as it enters and exits the nostrils. Let the breath soothe you, maybe drawing some deeper inhales, fuller exhales. Noticing even the pause, that slight pause at the top of the inhale before you exhale. And then the slight pause at the bottom of the exhale before the inhale. I'll be quiet while we just move through some deeper breaths. And filling up, breathing out, letting go. And when it feels right, you can allow your breath to return to its natural rhythm. Taking a moment to notice how you're feeling, if there's been a shift at all in the mind or in the body. Maybe a little bit more softness and found, or a little bit more spaciousness. Before we begin to gently move on your mats, you might like to come to a place of connection with a mantra or a statement. You can write to your own intention that you can remember while you're practicing and maybe take with you off of the mat. I'm in control of my inner state of being, or I'm calm and present, or I find ease in my body. anything else that comes to mind will help guide you today and beyond. Just breathe in deeply into that intention. Carry that with us throughout our practice. That's that. We're going to start to just really gently move on our spines. So take whatever movement feels good here. Maybe just rocking the head gently side to side, rolling through the wrists and the ankles. Maybe taking a full body stretch, finding some length in the arms and the legs. You can reach the arms overhead, really lengthen and maybe contract a little bit, making fists and draw the toes up to the shins, and then soften and release. Try that a couple more times, a couple more big breaths in. And then full exhales. And let's bend our knees here. Heel toe the feet a bit wider than your hips towards the right and left side of your mat, and then just cactus the arms. We'll start to windshield wipe the knees side to side, and you can link this movement with your breathing if you like. Let's just awaken the core, the low back, hips. Take a few breaths. The next time the knees make their way over to the right, just with the knees softened over to the right. You just keep them here. That feels like enough. Shoulder blades connected to the mat. Gentle twist. Or if you're looking for a little more, you can hook your right ankle on top of your left knee. This internal hip rotation here. Getting into that psoas, that hip flexor on the left side. And unwind, draw the knees back up to center, let them gently fall to the left. Take a few breaths here. Release, bring the knees back up to center. Swap the heels in about hip distance, but a little bit closer to the hips. And the arms can reach long at your sides. You can press the palms into the mat. Start to gently rock through the pelvis. So we're just really pressing the low back into the mat on the exhale, and then releasing on the inhale. Take a few like this. We're getting into the abdominals here a little bit. If you have a block handy, that's great. If you don't, I forgot to mention, it's handy to have one just within arm's reach. So we're going to come into a few rolling bridges, but then if you have that block handy, it'll be nice for our restorative bridge. We'll take a resting pose after we come into some flowing bridges. So as you're ready, on the inhale, press into the soles of the feet, gently start to peel the spine off of the mat, lifting the sacrum, the low back, the mid back. Resting there across the shoulder blades, and then softly lowering down with your exhale. So just move with the rhythm of your breathing, inhaling to rise, exhaling to lower, just coming up as high as you like. As you come up, take a moment just to pause and draw the inner thighs together, ground through the soles of the feet, become active in the pose before you release. The next time you lift up, you can reach out for that block, or even a bolster works, or a folded blanket is nice as well. Slide that prop underneath your sacrum, that wide flat hole there at the base of your spine. Take a moment to find the sweet spot. Just release. Maybe here your arms are in a gentle, in a cactus position, or long at your sides, palms up. Notice your breath. Take time for another couple of full connected breaths in, full exhales. And anytime during practice or through a practice that you want to connect with an audible breath, feel free, your ujjayi breathing, constricting the back of the throat slightly so that you hear your breath a little bit. Just release the pose by pressing into the soles of the feet, lifting the hips enough to slide the prop out, and then lower back down. Let's bring the knees in for a little hug towards the chest. You can wrap your arms around your shins if you want, and rock side to side, or place a hand on each knee and rock side to side. Circles are a nice option as well. Just massage the lower back a little bit here. Find stillness. Right hand on the right knee and left hand on the left knee. We'll make some big circles here. So on the inhale, draw the knees apart, away from one another, and then circle them back around to meet. Exhaling. We'll work in one direction for a few rotations. Whenever you're ready, you can take those circles in the opposite direction. Bring the knees back to meet. And if your straps within arm's reach, you can just bring that a little closer. We'll use that in a moment. For now, we'll just flex the feet and then send the soles of the feet up towards the sky. You can support behind the legs with the hands and just point and flex here. And then we'll pause, pointing and flexing. Just draw the legs a little more actively towards your torso. You can even kind of pretend you're sort of walking on the ceiling here and use the hands behind the legs to just sort of pull the legs alternately a little bit closer and then let them come back. It's a nice gentle way to get into the hamstrings and hips. And then just explore here, maybe pause and point and flex again. Come back to that sort of walking motion. Take a few more breaths here. So we'll make use of our straps now. You can bend the knees, reach out and grab your strap. And we'll place the balls of the feet around the center of the strap. And then lengthen the legs up again towards the sky. Take a couple breaths here, using the strap as an aid this time to draw the legs towards the torso, still the bend in the knees. We want a long spine, so I'll just tuck the chin slightly to create that length in the cervical spine, and then imagine reaching your tailbone towards the top of your mat, trying to keep that sacrum iron down. Let's work a little bit more with the right leg here. So the left leg can just be released from the strap, and then you'll find a place for it to rest. Maybe you're comfortable lengthening that left leg and just letting it rest heavy on the mat. Maybe it's easier to bend the knee and ground the foot. So the straps in the right hand here. We're going to softly lower that right leg out to the right, supporting and just letting gravity kind of do its work here. So let the leg be heavy and be held by the strap. And if it's a bit much with the leg lengthened, you can bend into your right knee. Supportive side of the knee. You notice you're sort of rolling over onto that right hip a bit. You can extend your left arm out, providing some counterweight, or place your left hand on your left hip bone. Take another full breath in and out here. I'll draw the leg up to center. Use the strap to help in your core. I'll let the leg fall a little bit to the left. It doesn't need to be much here. So we're not really making this about a spinal twist. It's more about getting into that IT band, which is a hard one to isolate. So if you can think about even drawing your right hip back as your right leg falls to the left. I sometimes hook my right thumb into that right hip crease. Just kind of pull that hip back a little bit. Again, kind of let gravity do its thing. Slowly come back to center. We'll take a big bend in that right knee. Still using the strap, you're finding a half happy baby. So the strap will help you pull down on that foot, or you can take a hand to the foot as well as using the strap. Your knee just a little wider than your rib cage and pulling down towards the mat. Full breath here. We'll release and just switch the legs so the left foot will replace the right foot. Find a place for that right leg to rest. Feels comfortable. Then we'll let the left leg fall out to the left, supported by the strap. Another breath here. Transition, drawing that leg up through center, letting it fall over to the right. Maybe hooking the left thumb and the left hip crease. Just play around with your angles here, degrees, so that you find that edge. You don't want pain. Our last breath here in this hold. And then let's raise the leg back up and take a deep bend in the knee, finding half happy baby. Trying to keep that sole of the foot facing the sky. And it just feels awkward using the strap for this one. You can just use your hand behind the thigh or the foot or the ankle, wherever you can grasp. A nice big breath in and out. Release. Take any movement that feels good here. You can just set your strap off to the side. Maybe hugging the knees in and rocking or taking a full body stretch. Have to do a little bit of abdominals before we come up to seated. So let's bring our knees above the hips and the shins parallel to the mat. I like to set myself up here with my hands palms down and my hands just kind of underneath, beside the sacrum, underneath the hips a little bit. So you're just walking your thumbs underneath the body for a little bit of extra low back support. And we'll begin here by pressing the low back into the mat. And this might just be enough for today. If you want, you can join me tapping the toes. So we'll start to tap the right toes down, and then the left toes down, and then draw the right knee back up, and then draw the left knee back up. So right toes, left toes, right knee comes up, left knee comes up. So once you got that, then just check back in with the low spine. Pressing it down. If you need a break, just holding. It's a little break, but you're still working. Just hold your knees up. And if we think about this as really just hinging from the hips and keeping that 90-degree bend in the knee, so the knee joint isn't moving at all, we're going to maximize the effects. Let's do one more with those right toes leading, and then we'll take a pause and lead with the left toes. So we'll meet back in that kind of that tabletop position. And then we'll tap the left toes down and the right toes join. And the left knee rises and the right knee rises. Do about 3 more each side, or 3 more. With the left toes leading. And after your last one, again, find any pose that feels good. Hugging the knees in, maybe taking them wide this time. And then rocking side to side, so we're modified happy baby. Maybe a full body stretch. Going to come up to a seat, so you can roll to one side and press up, or you can rock along the full length of the spine a few times. Give it a nice massage there. Feels good. Come up to a seat. Just take a moment to find some grounding. So if you have a block or a bolster or a blanket and you feel like propping up a little bit there, you can place it under the hips to get a bit more length in your spine. That's really just what we're going for here, is to find a nice long spine. Once you feel good there, then we're all set. So let's begin by taking a big breath in, reaching high. And then join the palms and exhale them towards the heart. Inhale, open to cactus. Really squeeze the shoulder blades. And exhale, release the hands to the low back. We'll interlace the fingers again and take a big breath in and squeeze the shoulder blades again. And release your hands. If you want, you can walk the hands forward a little bit. It might be a little, it might be a lot. Keep the sit bones connected there. So if you're sitting on a block or roll that blanket, you might not lean forward too far. Just feeling this in the hips, hopefully a little bit. And then walk back up. Just take the opposite cross of the ankles. So opposite ankle in front. Do that forward fold again. Just walking the fingertips forward any amount. Spine long. And let's rise back up. Do a little bit with our neck here. So lower that right ear down towards your right shoulder. You might close your eyes here just to tune inward. See what feels good. If you want a little bit more, you can extend your left arm out. Fingertips can point up. Or if that feels a bit too intense, just keep the fingers reaching straight out from the wrist. And we're just going to rotate the gaze so we're looking down towards the right hip. Taking the left hand, if you're using it, just back to the knee or the lap, rolling the head forward so that the left ear make its way towards the left shoulder now. Check in with the shoulders, see that they're parallel to the earth. And then you might extend your right arm. Just experiment here with flexing into the wrist or not. Rotate that gaze down towards the left hip. And then take your time here for 4 or 5 breaths, just finding any movement or holding in any position that feels like it might be a little sticky. Give your neck some love here. We'll return to a neutral spine, so just gazing forward. Roll through the shoulders a little bit, anything that feels good. You can alternate or roll them together. Just do a few in reverse and then do a few forward. Again, a lot of cracks and weird sounds. I don't know if that's normal or not, but do you have that too?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of the shoulders. Yeah. There's no discomfort. We're going to make our way to tabletop. Taking time here, make sure you have enough padding under your knees, so if you have knee pads, or if you want to take an extra roll, fold of your mat, or a blanket works nicely too under the knees. Setting up in the tabletop position, just to find some cat-cows when you're ready. So move through some gentle spinal movement, linking with the breath. So whatever feels good. Often it feels best to breathe in as you drop the belly, raise the gaze and the tail, and then breathing out as you round the spine. So there's lots of space for creativity and intuitive movement here. You can just close your eyes and move however you feel you want to today. So that might involve getting into the intercostal muscles, like some lateral movement, some side bends involved, or some circling of the torso, or even shifting back and forth between child's and tabletop, moving the spine as you go. So just be tuned into your body here, what feels good. Couple more breaths. Find that neutral spine once again. Let's send the right leg back, tuck the toes, rock a little bit here, checking in with the fascia at the bottom of that right foot, the calf muscle lengthening a little bit. Just gazing between the hands. Find stillness and just pick the right heel up, just to about hip height. We can always keep back and make sure that the heel's not hiked up too high, keeping the hips parallel to the mat. So we can feel the core working here, as well as the hamstring and glute. If you want to introduce a little element of balance, you can extend your left arm forward on your spinal balance here, bird dog. We'll flow a little bit with the breath, breathing in to extend and reach, and then breathing out to round, bending the elbow and the knee, bringing them to meet. Now to reach and exhaling to round, just moving with the rhythm of your breathing. Even more times. Last one, take that extension and just hold for one more breath. And we'll set everything back down. Take a little movement here. If you feel you need to come off the wrist for a moment, just sit back and roll through the wrists. Let's take a little pause. We'll do that sequence on the other side. So when you're ready, the left leg reaches back, tucking the toes, and just find a few rocks. You're shifting back and forth. Back to neutral, lifting that heel up on the left side. Taking a moment to connect here, really feeling what's going on in the body. Pressing down into those hands from the shoulders, helping you find balance, grounding. And if you'd like, balancing here, reaching your right arm forward. Begin to flow with the breath whenever you're ready, reaching long and breathing in, and then exhaling to round the spine, elbow and knee touch. One more, and then we'll hold that last extension for a breath here. And then release everything back to the mat. Let's take a child's pose. So you can take the knees as wide as you'd like. And then send the hips back. Walk the hands forward. Your forehead might rest on a blanket or bolster, or the backs of your hands. You can stack your fists if you want, or bring it right down to the mat. If you want to experiment here with a little bit more of an opportunity to open through the shoulders, you can tent your fingers. Just come up onto those spider fingers. We'll thread the needle here. So let's keep that left arm extended long and just thread the right hand underneath the left shoulder. So kind of stacking the shoulders here. Press a little bit into the right shoulder and press into the left hand at the same time. And just feel that expanse across the shoulder blades. Just gently release. We'll take a breath in our extended child pose, both arms reaching forward. And then we'll thread that left hand underneath the right shoulder. Now set the left shoulder, left cheek and temple down. Press into your right palm, press into your left shoulder. And let's release one breath in that child's pose again. And we'll come up and bring the knees about hip distance apart again, but walk the hands forward, finding your puppy pose. So hips roughly above your knees, and then walk the hands forward. You can come down to your forearms and forehead, or chest and chin. It's a nice one for the mid and upper back. Try to avoid too much sway in the low back, so just be aware of the abdominal muscles. Draw that navel up and in. And then walk the hands back up, coming to tabletop. Going to transition here to our downward dog. So tucking the toes, just coming up to a gentle downward dog, taking time to explore, noticing how your body's landing here this morning. Taking time for movement, any movement. And then let's hold in our downward dog, just finding that alignment, pressing the heels towards the back of the mat as the tailbone lifts up, pressing the palms, pads of the fingers, heels of the hands to the mat, letting the head be heavy. Here, let's reach the right leg up, three-legged dog briefly. Then we're going to step the right foot forward, but not all the way to the hands, maybe about 2/3 of the way, finding our pyramid pose. So if you have blocks, I like to sometimes use those on either side of the ankle. Settling in here, maybe use the blocks to help you rise up to lengthen the spine, and then fold over that right leg. So grounding your back foot, you'll find what angle works best. And then drawing your right hip back, letting your head be heavy. We'll take 2 more breaths here. Option to stay where you are or take a couple breaths and revolve. So finding a little twist. So left hand will ground to the earth, to a block, and then the right hand's gonna rise. Maybe the gaze follows. Just check in here, see how that feels. You can always come back to forward folding triangle or pyramid pose. And release your right hand back down to the mat. You can just set the props aside for now. We're gonna pivot so we're facing along the left edge of our mat. So coming into a wide-legged forward fold. And just adjust your stance. Let your upper body hang. You can always place blocks under the hands if you want. Try to find some length in the spine and just let everything feel good. You might sway a little bit, just hang out, you might walk the hands to the right or left, or hold the ankles. And let's lengthen the arms here. So press into the earth, hands beneath the shoulders, like kind of a halfway lift, lengthen the spine. And then we'll bend the knees a little bit, bring the hands to the waist, and we'll rise all the way up here to our star pose. Adjust your stance, and then when you're ready, arms can reach wide, a little bit high. Imagine your crown reaching up to the sky. Take a big breath in. And then as we exhale, we'll bring the hands to prayer at the heart and bend the knees, kind of sinking to a prayer squat. Do that a couple of times. Inhaling to rise, finding your star pose again, and exhaling to prayer squat. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, sink down. Come back up to our star pose. And from here, we're going to transition to warrior two. So bending into the right knee, right arm reaching forward. Just take a moment here, checking in with the grounding of both your right and your left foot. Put the palms up. Let's put them down. And let's reverse our warrior. Put the right palm only. Lean back. Nice side body stretch. And a big breath in. And we're going to come forward and take the hands right down to the mat. Here, we're going to step back to plank. Now that can be plank from the toes or from the knees. Taking time for a breath in your plank. Feeling connected. And then lowering down to the belly, keeping the elbows in close to the sides. Rise up to a little back bend when you get there. That could be Sphinx pose with the elbows beneath the shoulders, forearms to the mat. Or you might press into the palms and find a little lift that way. Keeping it gentle, keeping it strong. So reaching through the crown of the head, pressing the hips into the mat. Try not to compress too much that lower back. Soften out when you need a little rest, and then press up to another back bend when you're ready. Let's release down. We'll come back either through tabletop or your tall plank to your downward facing dog, taking the hips up high. Taking a breath here. Now let's raise the left leg up on the inhale, find your three-legged dog. And on the exhale, left foot will step forward, out 2/3 towards your hands. Setting up for your pyramid, so grab your props if you like to work with blocks here. Just settling into the pose, thinking about all of those little things like keeping the hips parallel to the mat, lengthening the spine, maybe even lifting halfway, and then softening, folding over that left leg. Head is heavy, just gaze back towards your right foot. An option here to take that twist, that rotation, right hand can ground to the mat or to the block. The left arm will rise up. So turning your torso to face that left side of your mat. Or the left wall. And then release your left hand down. Here we're going to transition to our wide-legged forward fold, towards the right long edge of our mat. Take a moment here, maybe move in the same way as you did on the other side, or maybe you try something different. Sometimes I like to walk the hands forward a few paces, come into a really wide-legged downward dog. This one feels nice for my shoulders. Just kind of letting the head hang heavy. You could walk your hands over to your right ankle and then your left ankle. Walk your hands behind your heels, or just hang out. And then we'll bring those hands beneath the shoulders, find kind of a halfway lift here. So create some space in the spinal column. Take a little bend in the knees as you bring your hands to your waist. And we'll transition to our star pose, bring the torso above the hips. Just adjusting your stance as needed. Taking a moment, don't come too fast and get lightheaded. Breathe in and reach. As you breathe out, this time goddess pose, bend the elbows and knees, sink down. Inhale, rise up, star pose. Exhale, sink down to goddess. Now reach. Exhale, goddess. Rise back up here to star pose, and then we'll take our warrior two. This time left leg bends, and we face the reaching over our left leg. Settle in, check in with that foundation, feet, all three corners of the soles of each foot. Rounding down to your mat there, flip the palms out. And then flip them down, and then we'll reverse our warrior, flipping the left palm, reaching up, keeping that bend in the front knee. Let's come forward slowly with control, bringing the hands to frame the left foot. Stepping back here to your version of plank and taking a chaturanga if you like, or just coming back to downward facing dog. So exhaling to lower. Inhaling when you're ready to press up to your back bend. And then exhaling to meet in downward facing dog. Couple breaths here. And let's soften to the knees. You can take a child's pose, maybe the same version as we did in the beginning. Maybe the knees come wide, and maybe this time the knees are together. Maybe the arms reach forward, or there's the option to just reach them back as well. Or they can come between the thighs and reach underneath your torso. Few deep breaths. Back to kneeling. We make our way to a seat, so we can roll over onto one heel, cross the ankles, press back. Just before we come to lie down, let's lengthen our legs. And take a half forward of the fishes here. So let's bend that left knee. And you can cross the left foot to the outside of the right thigh. And you can stay here with the right leg lengthened. I'm going to do that. Option also to bend your right knee and kind of make yourself into a pretzel shape. You can pass or take it. And we're going to take a twist to the left. So you can kind of hug that left knee in the right crook of your elbow, or you can take your elbow to the outside of your left knee. Just twist here with some length in the spine as priority, and then the twist is secondary. Unwinding slowly, maybe taking just a little twist the other way. Neutralizing, and we'll extend the left leg. Do that on the other side, bending into the right knee, crossing that foot over, and hugging the knee in, twisting. So find that length in the spine, and then you can kind of deepen your twist a bit. Unwind and just take a counter twist for a breath. Come back to forward facing, just ground the feet and bend the knees, and we'll take it really slow as we descend down onto our spines. Have any props that you'd like nearby for Shavasana because you're heading that way. So if you like a bolster or blocks or anything to support, have those nearby. So slowly lowering down, mid back, up back to the skull. Draw the knees in for a little hug here. Take any last posture you'd like. We've done quite a lot with the hips and some twisting, but you might like to get a little more into the spine by taking a supine twist, or you can take another happy baby, or you might get into the glutes and hamstrings by taking a reclined pigeon. Anything you like here for a few breaths each side, or about 6 breaths together, and then we're going to move to our Shavasana. If you're in a sided posture, you could change sides now. And then as you're ready, just gather up whatever you need for your Shavasana. Give me a wave if you'd like some props. I see there's a blanket over there. So if anyone wants to cover them up, you can come around with that. Anything else you'd like. Allowing yourself here to just soften. I like to imagine this time of year just lying on a beach where the sun's not too hot and just warmed to the perfect temperature. It's that nice warm sand just kind of allowing me to sink in and feel support. Take this opportunity to just allow all of the effects of your practice to settle in the mind and the body. Your breathing being natural, all of the muscles soft, scalp and facial muscles all the way down to the feet. Resting in this sense of balance, sense of not moving or doing anymore, but just being. Find when you're ready to release your shavasana, that some deeper breaths or small movements help you draw a little bit of energy back to the body, just coming back to an awareness and space. As much time as you need there, maybe even closing your practice in a supine position, you're welcome to do that. But taking as much time if you choose to rise up to seat, maybe rolling to one side for a breath or two. If you feel it, join me for a full breath in. Reach your arms high, refilling the lungs. And then join your palms, just exhale, soften into the heart. Maybe close your eyes here, go inward if you want to connect with any thoughts. Maybe you're calling your intention and thought to gratitude or something inspirational. Grateful to share practice with all of you today in the studio and online. Thanks so much for being here. Have a great day. Much peace. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you.